My name is Julian Taylor, and I'm a librarian at the English Montreal School Board, where, among other things, I oversee the Biblious project in my school board, and of course, I'm also part of the Symposium Planning Committee. Before we begin, I would like to take a moment to recognize the land upon which we live now was once used by others. The land under my feet here today on the island of Tiohtià:ke, or Montreal, as most of us are more familiar with, is unceded land that has been used for thousands of years by several different Indigenous groups. The most prominent being the Haudenosaunee, which we very often will hear in news media and in our history books as St. Lawrence Iroquois, and the Kayankahaka, which is more commonly referred to in the media and our history books as Mohawk. For those of you who would like to review this session again later, it is being recorded and will be made available on the QSLiN YouTube channel. Now, to the matter at hand. The question of how to ensure that our teachers and our students have access to ebooks has been going on for a long time. It's a very difficult question. Years before the current pandemic came out and forced everyone to start thinking about how to use different online tools and resources, there's many committees across Quebec that had been meeting for many years trying to figure out how we can bring ebooks into our schools and also, of course, into our school libraries. Mostly because just taking an existing model for public libraries won't work. Nancy is going to address that better in a few moments. But the basic idea is the needs of you as an individual citizen going to your local public library's website or perhaps the MEQ and downloading an ebook is going to be very different because your needs are different than what we need in schools for the most part, especially, for instance, in a classroom. So how can we as educators in Quebec come up with a system that works in our schools? And also, the system has to be fair and we would hope relatively affordable. So I won't go more into that. I'll leave that to our expert here today, Nancy. Nancy Lusignan, who is going to be going over the Biblious project in much more detail in the next hour. First of all, a little bit about who she is and why she is the expert on this. First of all, she has her MLIS from EBC here in Montreal, and she worked for 6 years as a school librarian for the Commission Scolaire des Hautes-Rivières, where she's involved in various projects over the years that promoted educational use of school libraries and, of course, children's literature. For 4 years, she led a librarians committee on ebooks in the Montérégie. And now, of course, for the last 2 years, since February 2019, she has been the project manager for Bibliopresto for the Biblious project. So, Nancy, turn it over to you.
Thank you very much, Julian, for this intro. I'm very happy to be here today at QSLiN Symposium to present the Biblious project. As you can hear, English is not my first language. It's a great challenge for me, but I'll do my best. Thank you in advance for your understanding. And if there's some part that are messy or I'm missing some words, I ask Julian to interrupt me and clarify some things. So please do that if it's not clear. So most of you probably heard of the project at some point or another. Today, I'm taking you on a journey through the great adventure that is Biblious, from its beginning 2 years ago to today. As you will see, the ride is neither quiet nor simple. We encounter many obstacles and challenges, and our platform is not at all a finished product like Overdrive or other lending platform you may know. But Biblious isn't just a technological tool. It's a whole project with many legal, financial, educational, and librarian implications for Quebec school libraries and young readers. Here's the agenda for today. After a little intro and context, I will present the Biblious project. I'll explain how the initial calendar has been reviewed regarding the actual pandemic, and I will present some preliminary numbers, I'm sorry for that word, from the limited deployment and the progressive deployment that started in last January. I'll finish with a little, I wanted to finish with a little demo of Biblious. Unfortunately, show must go on, but we have some technical difficulties with the platform today. It has to be today, so I will probably won't be able to do the demo today. But what I will do is I will record the demo tomorrow and send it to Julian, so you will be able to see the demo in the video when it will be posted online on the Symposium website. I'm really, really sorry about that. And yeah, we are a work in progress. So you can write your question in English or in French in the chat through all the presentation, but I will answer them only after, at the end of the demo, in the last 10 to 15 minutes. And Julian will read them to me, and I'll do my best to answer. So let's begin. About us, about Bibliopresto. We are a non-profit organization that has been offering digital tools and services to Quebec libraries since 2012. We are mostly known for the Pré-numérique platform that you probably know, that is now used in the majority of public libraries in Quebec and New Brunswick. We are a team of 6 librarians, and our general manager, Jean-François Cusson, is a librarian too. So it's a librarian team. We are working with the MEQ, which is our technical service provider. Among other services, they developed the Quantum ebook lending platform that some of you may know. It was offered like in the last 2 years to some school board. Before we jump in our main subject, here's a little ebook 101 that would help everybody to better understand the rest of the presentation. Let's keep in mind that an ebook is a file. Like a Word or Excel document, it requires a place to save and store it, and a program or an app to open it and read it. Main ebook files on the market are PDF, EPUB, or audiobook. With PDF, it's mainly used for books with complex layouts, such as pictures books, nonfiction with a lot of images, and graphic novels. The advantage with this file is it does not require a great technical expertise to produce. So many ebooks on the Quebec ebook market are PDF. The inconvenient with PDF, it can cause problem with text-to-speech depending on how the file is encoded. So for our students with special need, it can be a problem. With EPUB on Quebec ebook market, mostly novels right now, but it can be used to create any type of book. The advantage with this file, it's allowing some accessibility features like changing font size, and some interactive content can be included, such as small animation. The inconvenient, it require a certain level of technical expertise that not all publishers possesses right now. It's a new market, it's a new tool. We heard of ebooks since many years, but for many publishers, it's still something new that they don't completely own. Sometimes publishers are offering their book in both PDF and EPUB, and buyers can choose. That's kind of cool, but not every publisher are doing that. Like paper book, ebooks are protected by copyright. Keep in mind that it's easy to share a file with a friend or a colleague by email or on a drive, but it is as illegal as photocopy an entire paper book. That is a major issue and a challenge we have to deal with. Most publishers uses DRM, so digital rights management, probably a term you may have encountered if you tried some ebook in the last years. This technical tool is useful to protect from illegal copy, but it can sometimes cause problems with text-to-speech or access to books on shared device in the educational context. A good challenge that too. Finally, as Julian said, buying ebook for lending in a library is a total and completely different thing than buying the same book for ourselves. To allow ebooks lending in libraries, licenses must be developed and signed by the publishers. Usually, those licenses specify the number of loans we can do with the title, if we can have simultaneous or not loans. If there's an expiration date, sometimes it's 2 years, sometimes there is no expiration date. So if you have 30 loans, the license is good until there's no more loans. Sometimes it's a definite period of time. And finally, generally, those licenses specify how the book can be used. For an example, if we want to project on smartboards with students, this use has to be specified in the licenses to be legal. All right. Most of those elements are quite obvious. Of course, we want to have compatibility with text-to-speech for our students with special needs. That's basic. We want to have book access in remote areas where the local public library are often not easily accessible or have just a few hours of opening. We want to access the school library outside class hours. This one is interesting. We want to let our students to read during the summer or the holidays. So the ebook is interesting for that. We want to have book access in COVID context. This one also is obvious. You all know what the challenges we'll all encounter in the actual content. We also want to have access to ebooks in French and from Quebec publisher. As you know, on platforms such as Overdrive, there are just a few Quebec publishers, and most of the offer is in English. This is a problem for teaching French as a second language or for French-speaking schools. Also, the Prêt numérique platform, which is available in public library in Quebec, does not meet the needs of educational community. In 2015-2016, the Commission scolaire d'Émile demonstrated with a pilot project. Technically, downloading the ebook was way too complicated for students. There's many steps. You have to install certain programs on the reading device. It was too much. Also, very few licenses offer simultaneous loans. And most of all, they don't allow educational uses, only personal reading, which of course is a problem for us. So until today, French-speaking centres de service scolaire and school didn't have much possibility to learn ebooks. Without a platform, as you maybe had the pleasure to experience, buying, managing, and lending ebook is super complicated, and it takes a lot of time for library personnel. So we needed a platform with features and terms of use that support teaching and learning with ebooks. We want to be able to show that on a smartboard. We want to have simultaneous access to allow many students to read the same book at the same time. We want to be able to assign some readings from a teacher to students. So there's many needs on that part. We want a platform that is user-friendly and easy access for students and staff members. We also want to have quality metadata. This one it's really a librarian issue, but it's a fundamental and really, really important. So, for example, if I search Mo Willems, I want to find Mo Willems' book, and the data we have are poor or bad, and for example, if the data are coming from the publishers and they wrote his name in 3 different ways, result won't be effective, and that's a good challenge we have there. And finally, we want to have a platform that is affordable for the school community. So, in summary, we want to have a simple and legal, all-you-can-read buffet. So that's the objective. That's that's our unicorn world. So in 2018, as you know, the Ministère de l'Éducation published its Digital Action Plan for Education and Higher Digital Action Plan. The Measure 17 is reading like the Ministère want to provide access ebooks in school libraries and encourage the shift from library to learning commons. I'm not talking about the learning commons today. You probably know about that. It's really interesting, guys. If you don't know, go read about that. Since, as Julian said, since February 2019, the Ministère has been partnering with Bibliopresto for this project. I'm here since the beginning of the project, so it's a relatively young project. It's just been 2 years last week, and on that 2 years we had 1 year of pandemic. So keep that in mind, and we'll when you know that Overdrive platforms are in function for many years now. Yeah, keep that in mind. All right, the project itself. There's many aspects to the Biblious project, but mainly those four aspects. First of all, this one is obvious, technological. We have to develop the platform itself that will manage books, allow to search in the system, everything, that technological aspect. But the main aspect of the project is legal and economical. We have to negotiate licenses that balance the needs of both book industry and education community. And it's a really, really great challenge that we have to we wanted to, in fact, we are working with the book industry. It's a collaborative project. So we want to find this balance with, first of all, Quebec publishers, and after that, publishers from English, Canadian English, or European, the European publishers. So that's a really good and important part of the project. There's also an educational aspect, of course. At Bibliopresto, we have to train library staff in the deployment in the use of the platform, so staff can help students, teachers, and other school personnel after that. And finally, we have a communicational aspect that is really important. The project is there are many people involved, so we have to inform all the education community and also all of our collaborators. As you can see, there are many collaborators. Of course, we have the MEQ, the Ministère de l'Éducation, but also many from the book industries. We have Bibliothèque et Archives Nationales du Québec, Grix, our friend from Grix, so many collaborators. And through all those four aspects, librarianship and pedagogy are really orienting most of the decisions that we make. This one is a funny one. So you probably already used ebook lending platform at one point or another in your life, but maybe you don't know exactly how it's working. So I will try to summarize it for you. First of all, publishers create ebooks, basically files. Those files are stored in a digital warehouse. School library staff purchase ebook licenses in a digital library that is linked to the warehouse and the platform itself, technically linked. Currently, the digital library is managed by Les Librairies Indépendantes du Québec, but we will have some more collaboration with other libraries in the future, like Renaud-Bré, Archambault, and others. When the ebook is purchased, it's automatically transferred in the platform, so the students, teacher, and personnel can read them. So on the other side, when students and teachers access the platform, they are doing that through the school board portal. Why is that? First of all, it does not require the users to memorize an additional ID and password, which is really, really useful thing. It guarantees a good management of personal information, which is required by the Ministère de l'Éducation. And also, it allows some features like the reading assignment from a teacher to its students. So when we pass through the school portal, the connectors is sending to Biblious infos about the groups of the users. So if I'm a teacher, the platform know that I have 60 students, I have 2 groups, and that is really useful for some features in the platform itself. The inconvenience of that, it's technically really complex. There is different level of Mosaic portal deployment in school boards all around Quebec. And it's the first time ever that Grix collaborates with a partner that is not a school board or a centre de service. So it's a lot of adjustment on every level. But we're doing that. We're doing it. It's going to be okay. Also, we started with the Grix portal because I think on the 72 school boards and centre de service scolaire, 69 have the Grix portal. But we will have to adjust all of that with other portal in the future, in the next few months, in fact. So we're starting with Mosaic, but we will have some connectors with other portals eventually. And finally, the platform itself, as this is easier to understand. We can manage loans and returns. We have a search interface. We have an integrated reader. That's interesting. In fact, the reading is, oh no, I'm missing this word. There is no download. It's, it's an easy one.
Streaming?
Yeah, that's it. Thank you, Julian.
No problem.
I knew it was an easy one. The reading is in streaming. So that's easier for users, for students, and everybody. And finally, we have some feature to help educational use of ebooks, and that part is what makes us and the licenses and those features are what making Biblious different for other platforms. And finally, I said that earlier, but the quality of the metadata is a really, really big challenge. Right now, for the descriptive book in French, we are working with the Service québécois du traitement documentaire, donc the SQTD. In English, we will have to work with something else, but it's a great challenge, this one. For the communication, we have a website that is currently being translated, and the English version should be available at the end of March 2021. So in a couple of weeks, guys, we will have it in English. But for now, it's in French. You will find many information about the project on this website. It contains a FAQ. We have a presentation of the project, but we also publish different frequent news about the project. And we also have a contact here. So if you have any question about the project, you can write to us. Us is me and my colleague Sarah Kim. We are both working full-time on the Biblious project. So we write, we answer usually quickly. Okay, this one's an important too. We are talking about our virtual library. So a virtual school library. So the content is mostly literature. So mainly children and teens books, like comic books, novels, picture books, nonfiction, everything you can find in your school library, but in digital form. Notebooks and textbooks are not included in the project, so we won't have that on Biblious. According to Quebec Education Program, books in French and English, we want to have books in French, of course, but also in English to support English as a second language classes and other programs. Biblious project will be offered to students and staff from preschool to secondary and also adult education. I think some other platforms sometimes are not offered to adult education, so that's an interesting one. And we will offer it to public and private school, but also to First Nation and Inuit school. All right, calendar. This is the initial calendar before everything. Yeah, the first one, the first draft of the initial calendar. First of all, we were supposed to have a development phase in which we were creating the platform itself, so the technology, and we were creating the economic and legal system behind it. So we worked with Quebec publishers, with many collaborators to think about what we want to have, what can be done, what can't be done, and in the time we have, what can we try to have something to. We have to start somewhere. We know what we want is in a unicorn future, but what can be done right now in like 2 years that we can start with something and then improve it with time. So that was the first phase. We were supposed to have a second phase that was a limited deployment that was supposed to take place on a full school year with the first. We were supposed to plan it in the fall and then have it in the winter and spring 2020. I'm sure you see where I'm going with that. My next slide will explain more in detail what the limited deployment is about. But mostly, the intention is to experiment and document the platform's use, practical, technical, educational aspects with a shared central ebook collection. So keep in mind that Biblious itself, it's a tool. It's basically it's an empty tool, and we can put whatever books we want in that tool. It's the exact same thing as the shelves and the locals, the tables, and the system we use to loan books in a physical library. So it's an empty tool. I hate this word, but that's the best way to present it. So for the limited deployment, we have a shared central ebooks that is shared between the 35 schools that are experimenting it. Behind that that shared collection is an economical. There is a license behind this shared ebook collection. It's something we would like to offer to every school in Quebec, but we have to try it first. We have to collect data to make sure that this is viable, it's realistic to do that in a great scales after that. So after that, we were supposed to have a progressive deployment to all institutions in Quebec in 2021. Some details about the phase 2. There is 35 schools from 2 school boards. So we have English Montreal with Julian. We have Lester B. Person with Rafaela that you most know. And we also have Centre de Service Scolaire du Littoral, which has, you told me that word this morning, Julian, I forgot. Special status.
Special status school board, yeah.
Yeah. I almost had it. So yes, those are the 3 English-speaking. So 35 school, 2 school board, and 1 private school too, because as I said before, we want to offer Biblious to those guys too. So we have that. The school board and Centre de Service Scolaire were selected by the Ministère de l'Éducation. We want to have representative samples of of all the different schools we have in Quebec. In each of those 17 school board or centre de service, there is 1 person responsable. So we have 14 librarians, 2 documentation technicians, and 1 educational consultant. Each one of them is working with teachers, consultant, orthopedagogue, so to develop an educational project with Biblious and with ebook that they will experiment in the limited deployment. So there's a lot of interprofessional collaboration, and it's really interesting to document the part of the what can a librarian add to an interprofessional collaboration group. Yeah. If you are curious, you can see we have a collaborative website in which each of the 35 projects is presented in a descriptive file. sorry, it's only in French, but you can see the address is Bisco Livre Numérique. You also have the link on our website, so if you're curious, you can take a look. So that was the initial calendar. So in the first arrow here, you can see that was our first initial plan. So in yellow, we have the development. Orange, we have the limited deployment that were supposed to take place in 2020. And after that, complete deployment. But as you know, surprise, we all have the same situation. So due to school closures, all the educational activities and projects that were scheduled for the limited deployment had to be canceled last spring and winter. At the same time, we observed an exponential rise of demands for access to ebooks in school, in French, but also in English too. Now remember, the data we want to collect during this limited deployment are essential. We need those to develop an economic model that will work with the deployment to every school. We also need to have a feedback from the participants to adjust the platform itself and the connectors. And finally, most of French-speaking centres de services scolaires and schools don't have access to any ebook lending platform. So considering all those elements together, we sat with the Ministère de l'Éducation and all the collaborators to draw a new calendar for the project that you have under there here. So this new calendar, first of all, the limited deployment that were supposed to take place in winter and spring is postponed to this school year. So in 2021, from September to June, the 35 schools are experimenting the educational project with a shared central ebooks as it was planned before. That's the first thing. In parallel, we negotiated a COVID license, so school board and centres de services scolaires could purchase ebooks and offer them to their students and personnel until June 2021. So keep that in mind. This license is really, it's not what we want it to be. It's a first draft. It's something we had to create in a very, very short time. A couple of weeks, in fact, and it's not what it will be next year. It's a first thing that we have to develop to make sure this year in 2021 students can have access to ebooks. Yeah. So the license was signed by over 40 publishers. Most of them are from Quebec. Right now, there are only French titles in the Biblious virtual I said library. I'm not sure that word's good. Anyway, virtual library where
collection, virtual collection could work.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the place where we can buy.
Okay.
You know, in French it's librairie, but in English it's
bookstore.
Bookstore. Yeah, that's the word I was supposed to use. So in the Biblious bookstore, virtual bookstore, we have it's only French titles from now, but Scholastic should offer many titles in English really soon. It's a matter of days now. So that's interesting to know. So we did that, and for the progressive deployment of the platform, keep in mind when I'm talking about the platform, I'm thinking about the tool itself. Each school board in centre de services scolaires was invited to build this year their own collection by purchasing licenses on the virtual bookstore. Each school board in centre de services scolaires have one shared collection between every school in their school board. So it's not one collection by school. It's one that is shared by if you have 35 schools in your school board, every 35 school access this collection you develop locally. Also, this year we are preparing for the deployment to private schools and also First Nation and Inuit school, because those have really special needs. We have to adjust many things, technical things, but also in the content we have to negotiate with maybe some different publishers and something. So we are preparing for next year. And finally, while we do all that, we also are really working with, we're continue to work with the book industry to negotiate and planning the next license. So will we have a shared collection for every school in Quebec? We hope so, but right now it's not sure. We have to think. We have to collect the data from the limited deployment. We have to talk with Quebec publishers. So we're working on that really hard right now. I have some preliminary numbers for you guys. First, those are about the limited deployment. Remember, I said to you we were supposed to start in winter and spring. Yeah, but I have a difficulty with my winter and spring 2020. So the platform was officially available on March 12, and on March 13, all schools were closed. So we made some loans from March to August, but those numbers we can't really draw any conclusion with those numbers because it's such a special context. But we did some loans anyway. Also, during this time, the platform was accessible for the 35 schools that were in the limited deployment, but it's not every librarian that had the time or the means to train students. The teachers, schools were closed, some were doing other things. So it's really we can do nothing with those numbers. But since September, we officially kind of started the limited deployment as it was supposed to be. So some project has started in the fall. Some are going to take place in the next weeks. Some are going to happen in April. So it's not it's preliminary. I'm so sorry, numbers. But we had over 21,000 loans for over 5,000 students. So that's interesting for 4 months of a new platform. It's interesting to know that those numbers are higher than the Virtuel platform that is offered in all public libraries in Belgium. So I thought this one was kind of funny. And the Virtuel platform is in place since, I think, a couple of years now. So we had more in 35 schools, 5,000 users than they have in all Belgium. So let's be proud, guys. About the shared collection we have that I talked to you before, that is available only for the 35 schools in the limited deployment. We have 42 different publishers. Most of them are Quebec publishers. We have over 1,800 different books, different titles, most of them in French, but we just added last minute, some titles from Scholastic in English too. So yeah, that's interesting too. What's good to know is the license for this shared collection allows simultaneous loans for every ebook. So every ebook in this collection are always available for everybody to read, in fact. And now I have some numbers from the progressive general deployment. Keep in mind that the marketplace, so the virtual bookstore linked with Biblius outside the limited deployment was officially open on January 18. So it's been practically just a month for those numbers. This Friday, we will have officially 41 centres de services scolaires and 6 school boards that are connected to Biblius and that are trained to use the platform and buy licenses. Of course, nobody is obliged. Nobody is obliged to buy those licenses. Every school board can think about that, can try something. You can buy some license from here to June and then change their mind, do something next year. It's a first step. There's no cost to use the platform itself, so the use to connect to Biblious, no cost at all for any school or school board. It's all paid by the Ministère de l'Éducation in the context of the Digital Action Plan. And every school board must decide what budget they want to use to buy ebook licenses. In the virtual, I knew that word wasn't good. The virtual bookstore, we have 44 different publishers. It kind of looks like the limited deployment. We have 40 publishers. Most of the publishers are from Quebec. It's logical. It's easier to work with those guys. They are near us. There is more than 1,500 books, titles that are offered right now. That's interesting. Those titles, we negotiate with I'm sorry, I'm looking for my word. We are negotiating with publishers. When the publisher has signed the license, he can offer any titles he wants on the book store. So we have some publishers that are offering all of their titles. I think Les Malins are having like 500 titles now on the bookstore, but some are more experimenting. So some titles, I think it's like Foulir, they're offering just 15 titles. So it's every publisher is deciding what they want to offer to library loans. Yes. Right now, on this date, as I said, there's no title in English, but it's a matter of days before Scholastic will offer English titles for this. You can see on this slide the details of the license. Keep in mind that this license, I don't want to spend 15 minutes on this license. Probably you saw all the exchange we had on La Ruche. It's not perfect at all, we know, but yeah, let's resume. Publishers set the price of their ebooks. It's a market law. We don't. It's a law, so that we don't have any hand on that. It's working on a token principle. So when a student loans an ebook, it consumes 1 token. When a teacher loans an ebook, it consumes 10 tokens because in the eye of publishers, educational use of ebooks is more valuable. Yeah, that's it. This license is available until June 30, 2021. Keep in mind, it was developed in the COVID context. We had to do something quick to be able to offer something this year. Of course, it's not the final thing at all. It's a first draft. We will really adjust that. We are receiving many reflections, commentaires. Don't be shy. Please give this to us. Come back to us. We really appreciate those commentary, those reflections. It's really helping in the work we are doing with the publishers. The good thing about this license, because there are some good things, it's offering simultaneous loans for every ebook. So you have 40 tokens, you can have 40 students that are reading the same book at the same time. So I know there has been some exchange about the high price of those ebooks. I won't comment on that, but I think it's important to keep in mind that we remember that simultaneous loans comes with a price. So if we want to compare with something else. So if we want to offer the simultaneous loans for 120 students. Usually, if you have a $10 ebooks that you can have one person at a time, you will have to pay 120 times $10. And if you compare with this one, you have you have to buy 3 licenses of 40 tokens. So it's complicated. It's math. It's not perfect, but just we have to keep in mind that it's a first step. It's just the beginning, guys. I promise you. Finally, Biblious is a very collaborative project. It will continue to evolve with the data and feedback we will receive from the school community. Technological developments will continue to be made in the next few years to better serve the school community and adapt to new technology. I like to think that maybe we will have some holograms in a couple of years in ebooks, like in Star Wars. That will be so cool. And we want to be able to adapt to those new technology that are coming our way. We still have a lot of work in front of us. It's going to be a bumpy road sometimes. It already is. But we are confident that by working with both the school community and book industry, we will develop something really great for our students and our readers. So it's just the beginning, guys.
Hi, everyone. So here is the little demo of Biblius. First of all, there's 2 ways to access Biblius. First is through the Mosaic portal. So we just have to log in. And yes. And here we go. We see here the Biblius tile. We just have to click on it. And we arrive in our Biblius. I will show the detail about that in just a couple of minutes. If you are not using the Mosaic portal in your school board, no problem at all. You can use the other way to access Biblius. The other way is directly through the address of your school board for Biblius. Each school board has its own address. So here I am in the Centre de Services Scolaires Seigneurie des Mille-Îles. So the address is cssmi.biblius.ca. This acronym is we are asking you this acronym when your school board is telling us that he wants to deploy Biblius. So I just have to click on Connexion avec le portail Mosaic. And then I have to type my address. Sorry. And then I arrive at the exact same place I was before. So if you can use both ways, there's no problem at all. It's the same thing. Even if you don't use Mosaic Portail in your school board, you have to click on Connect with Mosaic Portail because it's using the connector behind. Okay, now I will get in Biblius. I will connect as a teacher, first of all. So here I am as a teacher. On the main page, we have the section named I Read. So that's what I'm reading right now as a teacher, what I borrow and I'm reading right now. We can see if I have many readings, I can click on my readings and I will see everything. So here is the same thing, but if I have like 20 readings, they will all appear by clicking on my readings. We have an Explore section. This one is interesting. It's if you don't know what you want to read, it's a good and interesting way to access the catalog and the books. So you have a section with all the books. You can explore by authors, collections, publishers, catalogs. So here we are. So if I want to see all the authors there is in my Biblius, I can look like that. Or I can simply, if I want to see every authors, I can click on the little plus, and I have all the authors here that there are in Biblius. Right now it's book covers, but eventually we want to have the pictures of the authors. That will be really nice. So that's the Explore. Of course, we have a search box. Right now, there is not advanced search, but in a couple of weeks, we will have that really soon. With the advanced search, of course, you will be able to search by language. So if you want to have only English book, you will be able to click English book. But right now, I can do, just to show you, if I'm looking for a scholastic book, the result page looks a bit like the Explorer, so it's a way of presenting a result. So I can see with Scholastic there is some, it's strange, but there is an author that is Scholastic collections and different publisher with this these terms. So I can see that there's also books. And when I see the same thing as Explore, so a little arrow here, or I can click on plus to have all the books. When I want to see if a book is interesting to me, I can click on the little play here. This one will soon disappear. Yeah, it's many people ask us to remove that, so this one won't be here soon. So if I want to see if a book is interesting to me, I have to click on the cover, and here I have a little story here, the infos about the book. Those infos are given to us by the publishers. So it's a bit of a challenge because not every publisher gives really good information. So we have to deal with that. So that's why we want to have eventually info from library catalogs instead of publishers. That's a work in progress. So here I have also, I can consult an excerpt. So easily, here we go. Usually it's like maybe 15% maximum, I think. So I can see the first pages and see if the book is interesting to me. If I'm interested, I can click on read simply, and then there is another window that's opening in the Navigator. So here's some of the. I won't take this one. Sorry, guys. I will go with this one, the fox. I love the fox. So I will continue reading. That's an interesting one. If you don't have to have a bookmark, so the Biblious remember where you were in your reading. So I just have to continue reading. So the book opened at the page I was the last time I was connected. So here are some of the features. You can see the table of contents. You can go through some of the chapters. You can make a search. So if I want to see everywhere the fox name, the fox word, that's a bad example. So, but you can see that it's interesting. So you can search for special sentence or anything else. You can also return the book. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm in French, but it will be available in English eventually. So I can return the book if I want to. I have my expiration date here on the top. I can also continue reading offline. If I want to do that, I just have to click on the little cloud here. And here I just have to say OK, and the book will stay in Google Chrome or any navigator I'm using, any browser I'm using. So if I'm a student, I start my reading at school and I want to continue in the bus and I don't have internet in the bus, so I just have to do that. The book will stay and I will continue my reading offline with no problem at all. We can also change, there is some function here, so I can adjust, make it bigger. I can change the space between the lines to make the reading easier. So there's some option here. For here, we eventually we will have dyslexic typography, I'm sorry. So this will help. It's just the beginning, so this is some of the function we will have. Eventually, we will also have note-taking functions, so readers will be able to take notes, highlights, and some of those things. It's possible that some of those features are not available depending on the type of the books. If it's a PDF, sometimes you cannot make the text bigger, but if it's a EPUB, it's working. So we have some challenges here. So there's also text-to-speech included in Biblius. So if I just click here, I can start here. I see the sentence is highlighted. Here's a good example. I have a problem with the text-to-speech. It's not a good example. I will show you with another title, but we can adjust the we can make the readers go quickly or slowly. So it's usually working. If you have students with special needs that don't want to use the text-to-speech in Biblius, you can use WordQ or Lexibar over the book. It's working. I just have to do that, open my Lexibar or WordQ, and it usually works. So here it is for that part. Oh, the other part I want to show you. I'm connected as a teacher. So if I'm looking to, I want to assign some readings to my students, I just have to make a quick search, like I'm searching for Fox. I can see, right, there's those books. All right, this one is, I can see it's interesting. I can add as mentoring reading to a group. This option here is only available for teachers. So when I click on that, I see my groups here. The groups here are, right now I am in a test section, so it's group A, group B. But in real life, you have all your groups from GP and Mosaic. So if it's like ENG 08/ anything, so all your groups appear here. So I just have to say I want to give this lecture to group A. So here we go. It's been added successfully. And I can go back and see in mandatory readings in my group A. I can see all the readings I have assigned to the students of this group. Right now, we cannot assign to one student specifically, but we are working on that. So right now, we can assign to a group entirely. So that's about the little visit for the teachers view. I will right now connect as a student to show you what's the difference between both. Oh, sorry, I'm not in the good one. I will just go here. Sorry, guys. Oh, see where I go. Oh, as you can see, I'm in French, but I can switch in English. No problem at all. All the platform is French, English. You can switch between one and another. So as a student, when I'm logging, I read, same thing as the teacher saw. That's the book I'm reading right now that I already started to read. If I want to see more, I can click on the little plus here. I just have those two. And there is also, I will go back, and I have the I must read section. Those books here are the books that my teachers assigned to me. So I can see the plus here. If I have more than one teacher, I am in a high school. If my history teacher or my English as a second language, English art, French as a second language, if I have many teachers, they all can assign books to me, and I will all see that in this section. That's interesting. That's the big difference. As you can see, there is not the mandatory ratings. And when I am in the catalog, or I do a research, I don't have the little logo here to assign, and I don't have that either. So because right now I'm a student. So that's about it. For any other user that are not students or teachers, it looks a lot like that, but we don't have the I must read section or assign mandatory reading. So that is about that. If you have any question, you can contact us through our question box in support@biblius.ca. Thank you. And just keep in mind, this is just the beginning. We have many, many improvements that are coming really soon. We have the advanced search. Soon we will be able to have selections in carousel. So as a librarian, you will be able to make selections and make them available in the main page. So when the students or a personal member is connecting, they will see I must read, and some selections below here with subjects and anything you want. So a lot is still coming, and thank you very much for your listening, guys.
Do we have any questions, Julian?
Actually, we do.
Hi.
Well, so far there's just one question. A person who was being proactive. Tina Housen from the Leslie Pearson School Board. Do or will you have a feature for dyslexics, for instance, font changes, page layout, spacing of text, to make the reading process easier for those students?
Yes, we will have. We have first of all, we have to keep in mind that to change the font size or the font itself, it has to be an EPUB. So this is the first challenge. The book has to be available in EPUB on the market. So when we include it in Biblious, the feature we have, we can change the font, because if it's a PDF, we can have the best features, it won't work. So first of all, there's work to do on the book community this way. In Biblious, we actually, right now we have, you can change the font. We don't have a dyslexic one, but it's a change that has been, it's on our roadmap. So we ask that to the MEQ. We will have that eventually, yes.
Okay. Next thing I was going to say actually was something I was going to throw in, is that right now, as you mentioned, the website for information is in French only, but the English translation is coming very soon. But one thing I think it might be helpful for a lot of people to also realize, though, is in the interface, which unfortunately we weren't able to show you right now, but the interface has already been designed for an easy changing of languages. I have used it, and flip-flopping between English and French is really fast and really, really easy. They're really designing a product that will be definitely usable for any teacher and any student in Quebec. So that makes things very easy. That's already there. I'm going to refresh, see if there's any other questions. I think your presentation was very thorough, because you know what? No other questions are coming in. That's it's pretty interesting. But what I think I might do is, I think I'll just scroll back down to some of the questions this morning.
Yes.
Maybe they will be similar to some other questions that people are thinking in their head right now already. What I was going to say here: do school boards choose the titles from a pre-selected collection that Biblious selects?
Yeah, yes, that was a good question. I like that question. The answer is no. As I explained, we signed Biblious team. We are working with publishers. Of course, first of all, we are ciblé. How do you say?
Connected?
Yeah, we are connecting. Anyway, we are talking with publishers.
You're sorry. In that case, you'd say we're in conversation with, or
yes,
in discussion with.
Yes, we're in conversation with many publishers. Of course, we are not in conversation with every publisher, so there's kind of a selection that I'm doing that. But once the license is is created, once the publisher is signing it, every publisher decide which book he wants to make available on the virtual ebook store. So it's not Biblius that is making the selection. It's every librarian can choose which book you want to purchase for your students.
Okay, perfect. Will consultants also have access? Actually, maybe I'll expand that original question.
Yes.
Is it just teachers and students who have access? Who has access, or who could have access to Biblious?
Yes, that was also a good question. I talked to you about the many challenges we encounter with Grix, with the connector, but one of the good things about this connector is that every personal that has Office 365 account, like for as an example, if you are in English Montreal School Board, you have an Office 365 account, you will be able to access Biblious. So any personal, any students, everybody will be able to access Biblious.
Perfect. A live question, Seth Stauffer from English Montreal. Will renewals be counted the same way as a first-time borrow? I know teachers that would be interested in assigning books in French for projects, but for longer than the standard loan period.
Yes, a renewal, that's the word. Yeah, you could. A renewal, it's yes, it's counted like a loan. So right now we're working with a token system, as I told you before, but it's not. Take that as an example. You have one book for 41 days. That's an interesting something to say. In Biblious right now, the loan time is 41 days. It's longer than what we have usually in other platforms. Sometimes it's 21, 28. Right now it's 41. Right now you cannot change that period, but eventually we will be able to locally, if you want to change those time, you can. But first of all, it's 41 days, so it's already longer than a standard loan. But after the 41 days, if you don't have, you still need the book, you have to renew it. It counts as a new loan. Yes. Okay,
perfect. I hope that helps, Seth. Another question too is, this is one from earlier today, will library personnel be able to assign books to students?
Oh yes, yeah. This one, the answer to that is it's a technical issue, in fact. How the assignment is working is with the connector we have with Grix. When a teacher is connecting to Biblious, the system is sending to Biblious the info about its or her groups. So if you are a teacher, you have 5 groups, you're connecting to Biblious. Biblious knows that you have 5 groups and those are your students. But if you're a librarian, if you want to be able to assign any books to any students in your school or in your school board, because you guys in English are lucky, you often have a librarian in each school or most school, but in French, Centre de Services Scolaires, it's mostly 1 or 2, if they're lucky, a little bit more, but usually librarians are in the school boards, so they work with like 30 schools. If we want to allow a consultant or a librarian or anyone to assign books, we have to load in the platform everybody. So this is a really, really complicated thing to do, and it will slow really, really much the platform. So right now, it's not available to assign if you are not a teacher. But as a librarian and library personnel, you will have some features in which you will be able to make lists, suggest. Yes, and I can't remember the word, carousel.
Carousel.
Carousel. Oh, yeah, that's why we were looking for a carousel. So if you have you want to present some Halloween books or graphic novels, you will be able to make some selection and make them available to your teachers and your students. So it's kind of another way to assign things without assigning.
I was going to say, for those of you who perhaps have played around with some of the advanced features within Sora, that is the same type of system, and it is pretty easy to update, and that I think is very useful, especially for trying to promote specific books. You know, perhaps, for instance, Black History Month, or other special events might be going on. That is a good way that you can try to promote those books.
Yes, if you want on Pré-numérique, also you can see what it looks like if you want to have some selection about, you said, like Black Women History or First Nation or anything. That's it can give you an idea of what it will be.
Which I also like too, just, you know, as a librarian back when I used to be in a school, just putting on book displays, suddenly books that, you know, were never used, suddenly it's like, oh, it's a new book. Yes, it's totally new book, because it's right there in front of them. They're more likely to experience those ones.
And what's cool with ebook is that they don't know it's an old book. It doesn't look old. You can have it for 5 years and it still look totally new. There's no dust.
You know, the corners are not, you know, turned over.
You don't have that smell, you know, that
new book smell versus old book smell.
Yes.
Yeah. Tiffany Clark, Lester B. Pearson School Board. Will individual schools within a school board be able to add to the collection?
Not for this year, not for next year. It's not an official no forever, but right now, no. So it's really, there's a lot of reason for that. First of all, I said before, in Bibliopresto, we only are 6 librarians. We are 2 full-time on Biblious, but we don't have the resources to assist. There are over 3,000 schools in Quebec, so we don't have the resources to assist and train 3,000 schools in managing their own local collections. That's the first thing. But second of all, we also, it's a tricky question, but I think I'm gonna say it. So I'm not sure in English how it's working, but in French schools, mostly in preschool and primary school, it's often, what's the word, bénévole?
Volunteers.
Volunteers, yeah.
Usually a parent volunteer.
Yeah, volunteer that are managing the library. And it's, you just saw the ebook world. It's a complicated one, even for us librarians, and we are professionally trained, and it's complicated for us. So it will pose many challenges to include voluntary into this managing thing. And there is also some technical challenges that we have to encounter. So right now and for next year, it's 1 collection for every school board or centre de salle scolaire. After that, I'm not sure, but for now, it's that way.
The future has so many possibilities. We're just one step at a time. Another question. Oh, we're actually doing very good on time right now. Another question here is, and I think this is a question from earlier today, which perhaps you've actually already responded to, but will the platform be able to allow highlights and note-taking?
Yes, I didn't answer that, so it's kind of a new one. Right now, it's not available, but I assure you guys, we want to have that. We asked that to the MEQ. It's on our development roadmap. We want to have that. It's a feature that is essential for students and teachers. So right now, no, but soon, yes.
Okay, I'm just refreshing. I think that's it for any questions. If anyone has anything else, please type quickly. Otherwise, I think we're done. Thank you very much, Nancy, for making the time. I can tell you all from all the exchanges, whether it be on Zoom or email, occasionally actually even phone, rarely, but usually by Zoom. Nancy is very involved in making sure that this project is as close to what we could possibly get for what we need for Quebec schools. She's very passionate about it, as you probably have determined by now. And I'm very, very happy that she was able to take the time to explain this to our community today. So thank you, Nancy, for your time, and also for, of course, presenting in your second language. I think you did a very good job, so don't worry about that. And oh, sorry, quick question.
Hey.
How do we contact Nancy?
Yeah, on the screen right now you have the web address from our website. On the website you have a contact
Button? Icon?
But it's not it's not a button, it's not an icon, but it's a contact on the upper right corner. You can write that. We are, as I said before, we are just two project manager. There's me and Sarah Kim. So if you write on the contact forms, we will answer to you really quickly. You can also write to us. You have the address. It's in small characters. It's support@biblius.ca, but it's exactly the same thing as on the website. So that's the easy way to contact us. And please do that. Don't be shy. I want to end on that note. Thank you in advance for all the collaboration, your implication on the project. We'll get there together. So thank you very much.